All right, part two of the fourth, I don't know, argument with this old hacks guy about direct democracy. Um, we're really talking past each other here because he's ignoring every point I make, and apparently, by his perception, I'm ignoring his. I don't think rules aren't going to be this simple. They're not going to be simple enough for initiative election. And you can see it, I mean, he uses part of California as an example. Why don't you use all of California as an example? Because part of the reason why California is bankrupt is because California does through initiative what it doesn't pay for through its politics. Initiatives just create a bunch of irresponsibility. If people are going to have, every issue is going to be put to an initiative, the law is just going to be too simple, and it's not going to be able to be either pragmatic or fair, or it's not going to reach any kind of, there's no filter to force it to be rational, and without that I don't see any point in it. I'd rather have, I think everything I've stated as, and everything you can get through your direct democracy, I think you can get through having just better representation. And that's really the core of our argument. I mean, you call the Congress dictators. They're not dictators. Yeah, they're elected by the same majority in 50 states, which is a real problem, or in 500 counties, regions. And that's a real problem. The same majority always gets to rule. But it doesn't, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the idea of selecting a representative, and it's almost baby talk to say, oh, there's nobody in the whole country I can trust, and then you bring up somebody like Mike Gravel or somebody else, and you talk about how brilliant they are, wonderful they are, and then you're going to tell me at the same breath that, oh, you would be afraid to vote for them too because they're too corruptible. I mean, it's just a pile of shit. We can find 500 people in the country who aren't going to be motivated by a few extra dollars or a prostitute or some other kind of bullshit to compromise their core fundamental principles. The fact that we don't have politics like that now is completely dictated by a two-party system. All right, it's a machine, and it has nothing to do with ideology or anything else. It just has to do with an equation for red and blue states and figuring how they can consolidate their power. And so, yeah, they're unprincipled bastards. But in a lot of ways, they are exactly what the people want them to be, because they are like all the fluff on television and everything else. They're simplistic baby kissers. They give people the lie. They sell lies, and people want liars. They want the lie. They don't want to deal with the truth. So it's just idiotic to say that that the flaw is in the representation. No, it's in ourselves. It's in the people who are electing the representatives, the same people who'd be writing your initiatives. And you even made it so damn clear. You made some stupid, comment like, oh yeah, well, if we had initiatives, the first thing I would propose is abolishing the Congress. Yeah, so you're just demonstrating how fucking responsible you would be. And what force of, dispute resolution would you put in its place? What force of compromise to make sure policy was rationally sufficient would you put in its place? You can't just, that's the unaccountable bullshit that ends up getting passed by initiatives. So screw that shit. I don't know if there's much else. I don't know how far we have to take this stupid argument. I've made it clear. It's if you get rid of geographic voting districts and apply instant runoff voting, there's not a single ideological issue you cannot defend. And like I said, the point is that it would force the issue to be part of the political debate. Okay, but you couldn't keep you'd have Klansmen in the Congress, and you'd have tree huggers, and you'd have every kind of philosophy that had a few 100,000 people representing it represented, and so then the shenanigans couldn't go on because there'd always be somebody there doing the fact checking and doing the counterbalancing. But initiative just allows the public mindset, whatever the mass media feeds them, they will buy into, and I don't see anything productive coming out of that at all. It's just gonna placate the nature of human beings to reach for something simple that's likely to be pretty fucking stupid. And your own bankrupt state kind of points that out. So anyway, I mean, Prop 13, I mean, we can talk about that for a long time, and the irresponsibility of it. So whatever. Which one would be more likely to be passed? I mean, the one, the point is you're going to have to extort the system that exists for us to get what we want. So we have to get enough people interested, whether that's 1 million or 2 million or 5 million. I mean, I think Ralph Nader had huge power, and he squandered it by not negotiating with the party system. And but that's what it's going to take. It's going to take those kind of numbers behind something to extort the two-party system into giving us what we want. But neither one of the party, neither one of our proposals are going to be something they're going to want. They're not going to vote. The Congress isn't going to willingly vote for initiative government any quicker than it's going to vote for instant runoff voting. Either one of them is going to have to be through extortion. And I'm just going to defend the one I think is the safer, more complete answer. And why should I advocate for the lesser, but if you get enough momentum to seem like you're going to get somewhere, I guess I don't have I'm not appalled by the idea of initiative government. I just think it's a less than satisfactory solution to the problem. And I want more than that. I mean, I want, and that is, like I said, the bottom line is I'd say yes to that if we had some system in place to ensure that the average person voting had the competence to know what the fuck they were voting for. And maybe we'll get there someday. Maybe people will have the responsibility to look past just a campaign sign or, an image of a guy and his wife and his little kids and say, oh, I trust him. I mean, that kind of bullshit. So maybe someday the average voter will be more capable, and then I could have more confidence in their judgment. But till then, I want some smart people in a deliberative body arguing. I don't want to, you can't, like I said, you can't argue in the mass media. You can't argue fluffy bullshit. And so, because you don't have an audience. If you have a debating room, you have a Congress, you have a legislative body, well, the argument has to take place. People they have to listen to each other now and then. And, that makes all the difference, I think. Makes a big difference in terms of creating some sort of safety valves against really stupid and simplistic policy. So, I don't know if we need to argue some more or not. I just think your whole fair tax thing, all the rest of this rhetoric, it's just the Ron Paul kind of canard. It's not about freedom. It's about protecting the interest of the gluttons and the pigs, legacy wealth. You want to preserve the cheats that have existed because we didn't have any way to fix the cheats. Well, we do have the way to fix them now. So we don't have to live under their tyranny anymore. So that's the freedom I want. I want freedom from the bullshit like a birthright. And you've never even touched that subject. Deal with inheritance. All right, let's see, what's your opinion of people being able to inherit capital, inherit ownership? How is that fair? And how is that sort of some sort of definite birthright is somehow freedom? The freedom to be superior by arbitrary chance? I mean, what a pile of crap that is. So either you're for a competitive free market or you're not. But it's not a competitive free market if you have a bunch of cheaters right from the start. Because they fell out of the right woman. I mean, it's just a stupid, I say you lose the right to even use the word fairness when you can't even get that one right. I mean, it's just so fucking obvious. So anyway, until next time.